Hello, everyone. Welcome into today's webinar. My name is Nick Child. I am the Director of Customer Experience here at Harris Federal Employee Law Firm. We try to put on these webinars at least once a month to just help educate and give you guys resources to help you make better decisions with your retirement and with your employment with the federal government. We're excited to talk to you about federal disability retirement specifically today. And Bo Harris, the president of Harris Federal Employee Law Firm, is going to speak to us. Bo has been doing this for over 15 years now, and he is just a great resource when it comes to this benefit and all federal employee benefits. And he's really good at clarifying this complex benefit and showing the value that it brings to people's lives in their retirement. So we're excited to have you here. There's going to be some people on the chat here to answer questions for you as quickly as we can, but we'll be on here. So feel free to leave those messages and we'll try to get back to them. So without further ado, here is Bo Harris.
Hey everybody, my name is Bo Harris, and I'm a Chartered Federal Employee Benefit Consultant here at Harris Federal Law Firm. Thanks for joining today. We're very excited about this topic. It's a topic that comes up a lot for us as we represent federal employees all over the country with their federal disability retirement. One of the first things that they ask is, what is my benefit worth? What does that benefit mean, and what is it worth to me? And how do I plan accordingly for that? So we're going to dive into that today. We're going to discuss kind of what the benefit is and what it's worth, and hopefully you can get something out of that. So the first thing that I want to go through is a disclaimer real quick. This is a webinar. It's not intended to be legal advice, but we do greatly appreciate you being here. And like I said a minute ago, I hope you get a lot out of this and can share it with some of your friends and colleagues. So to get started, too, a couple of housekeeping things is that we have team members here standing by to answer questions that you might have that come out of this webinar today. Our platform allows for you to ask a question during the presentation. So if something pops up that we're not going over at the moment, maybe you want to shoot us a quick question through the webinar platform, we'd be happy to try to get that answered for you. If for some reason we don't get to it during the time that we have here today, feel free to call our office. You can call us toll free. We would be happy to schedule a free consultation with you to go over your specific situation. Our goal here today in this webinar is to keep it as short and as efficient as possible. But we do want your questions, we do welcome them, and we also welcome you to call us anytime. Retirement, what is your current plan? That is a question that all federal employees should ask themselves. What is my current plan? What am I hoping for? What am I depending on? And what does my future look like? All federal employees have FERS, obviously. Federal Employee Retirement System is the main component of your retirement. You know, they have a pension that they're planning on that they need to be aware of and making sure that they're utilizing to maximize their retirement plan. So you might currently have some idea of what that future looks like, but if you're not using these other parts and pieces of these, the whole picture, you're not maximizing what that plan could be. Hopefully, you are taking advantage of the Thrift Savings Plan, the TSP. So for those of you who don't know what that is, the Thrift Savings Plan is essentially the government's form of a 401k. Your employing agency will match your contributions up to a certain limit, so you definitely want to be taking advantage of your thrift savings account there. There's also life insurance and health insurance group policies that you qualify for as a federal employee. But there's also potentially other income streams that you might be planning on too to supplement your retirement. So all of these things combined, maybe with a couple other things even, make up what you think your retirement plan is. And that's great. I think all federal employees should have a good idea about what that is for them. But what if something goes wrong? You know, that's something that we deal with as our office. We help people figure out, well, what do I do now that something's off track? It's not going the way I thought it would go, so what do we do now? Most people do have that plan, but you have to know what options are out there if for some reason you get off track, like potentially a work injury. People get hurt at work all the time. If you have an unexpected medical condition that arises that maybe is not pertaining to your job, that's a real situation for a lot of people. If you develop the inability to work for whatever reason, if there's something that's causing you to not be able to fully perform your job, if your employing agency is somehow unable to accommodate your medical restrictions, these are real things that happen to people that were unexpected. And most people don't know what their options are after they have this unexpected detour in their plan. And so that's one of the things I want to talk today about is a potential solution to that through the way of federal disability retirement and what that is and how much that is worth. Because most people just don't know how these detours, these off-track situations affect their retirement plans and how they're going to protect their income. Most people have never even heard of or even considered federal disability retirement. So this is where federal disability retirement comes in. The first thing I want to jump into is who is eligible. Federal employees that are FERS employees, which most of them are nowadays, must have 18 months or more of service. If you are a civil service retirement system, CSRS employee, then that requirement jumps up to 5 years. But most are all FERS now. You must have a deficiency in service. And what I mean by deficiency in service, I'm specifically talking about how it affects your performance or your attendance or your conduct. Now, it could be either of those, but let me repeat those: your performance, attendance, or conduct. Now, the topic of this webinar today is how much does it pay or how much is it worth? Now, there's a whole lot of other resources that we've published and webinars that we put out that talk about the eligibility requirements for disability retirement. So if you have questions about that, please check out those resources on our website. But for the purpose of today's webinar, we're going to talk about what does it pay. So once a federal employee is approved for disability retirement, the first year that they're on that benefit, they're going to receive an annuity that's worth 60% of their high 3 average. For every year after that first year, they're going to receive 40% of their high 3 average. One thing to note about this annuity is that it is taxable income, so you will be taxed on this money. And you will also have choices to keep your life and or health insurance, as well as a choice for a surviving spouse benefit. So the first concept that you need to understand when you're thinking about what is my federal disability retirement annuity going to be based on, it's based on a percentage of your high 3 average. And a high 3 average is essentially your 3 consecutive years that you earn the most income as a federal employee combined and averaged. So that's your high 3 average. So now that you understand what your high 3 average is, once you've been approved for federal disability retirement, you're going to receive for that first year on the benefit 60% of your high 3 average. That's paid to you in monthly payments, and that's for the first year. And every year that you remain on the benefit after the first year, you're going to receive 40% of your high 3 average, all the way until you reach the age of 62. At that point in time, the benefit will recalculate into regular retirement benefits, and we'll get into that in just a little while. One thing to also note is that this is taxable income, so all the income that you receive from this benefit will be taxable income. And you will also have choices to keep or not keep your life and health insurance, as well as you'll have choices for a reduction in your benefit for a surviving spouse benefit. So one thing that I want to do, and this just helps paint a better picture of what this benefit is if you put it to a real life situation. So we're gonna talk about the example federal employee named Beth, and Beth is a registered nurse with the VA. And here are some facts about Beth. She's 51 years old. She's a FERS employee with 15 years of credible service. She's already figured out what her high three average is, and that's $72,000 per year. She is married and she has one child. Beth, unfortunately, has severely injured her lumbar spine while lifting a patient at work. So she has a work-related job injury here. She undergoes surgery and she has conservative treatment, but is never able to fully return back to her job in a full-duty capacity. The VA is unable to accommodate her medical restrictions. Now, this is painting a picture of something that we see every single day all over the country here. Okay, like again, she does have that work-related injury, so she also has an ongoing workers' compensation claim. And again, that benefit is not a long-term solution to your inability to work. That's a different topic, but I just really want to point out to the listeners here that depending upon a federal workers' compensation as a long-term solution to your inability to work is not a good strategy, which is why we're talking about federal disability retirement today. If you want to learn more about that, we have resources available for you. But now let's talk about what options are available to protect the income in retirement. You got to know your rights. You got to know your options. We recommend seeking professional assistance, and we recommend developing a strategy based upon experience. So now let's look at what the example federal employee Beth, what her disability retirement would be worth, what just the annuity portion of her benefit would be worth. So remember, she's 51 years old. She's got the high three average of $72,000. So for the first year that she is on the federal disability retirement benefit, her gross annual benefit will be worth $43,200. And that breaks down to $3,600 per month. And by the way, this is paid monthly, not in an annual lump sum. After the first year, remember it drops down from 60% to 40%. So now in year 2, and every other year that she's on the benefit, all the way to the age 62, she's going to receive $28,800 per year, and she's going to receive $2,400 monthly. Now, all that is taken into consideration for the next number, which is the total benefit value between the ages of 51 and 62. So for Beth, her total benefit value is $331,200. That's a significant benefit, and it's worth noting that because this is an option that probably Beth had no idea existed, as a lot of federal employees also don't know that. They get injured at work, or maybe it's a non-work-related condition that they develop that prevents them from doing their job. Their employment agency is unable to accommodate them, and then they're confused. They don't know what to do, and then they don't know where to turn. So this is a good solution for Beth in the sense that she has supplemental income. It's a bridge to 62. So this is an important benefit for Beth because it provides income for her between the ages of 51 and 62. We actually sometimes refer to the benefit as a bridge to 62. That's kind of an internal thing that we talk about. But essentially it helps somebody during the interim periods between when they develop a condition that prevents them from working. How do they get from the age that they're at when the disability begins and creates a condition where they can't work to 62? That's why we call it a bridge to 62. How long does the benefit last? That's the question that we get asked secondly. This benefit will continue to pay you monthly until you reach the age of 62. At age 62, what happens? Well, the benefit will recalculate and it will turn into a regular retirement pension. So essentially, at that point in time, you're going to take a regular retirement. There's a possibility there that's worth noting that you could receive a 10% bonus on the calculation of what that retirement is, as long as your credible years would qualify. We'll get into that too. There are other parts of this benefit that are definitely worth talking about and diving into, because to understand what federal disability retirement is in a whole, you need to understand what else you're entitled to as well as the annuity income. One of the first things that I want to talk about is working in the private sector. Most people don't realize that if you are a federal employee on disability retirement, you've been approved for something that is referred to as an occupational disability, not necessarily a total disability, which is different from, let's say, Social Security disability. So we're proving whenever we're getting you approved for your claim, we're proving that you can't do your job, not necessarily that you can't do any job that exists. We're saying that you can't perform the essential functions of your job. But the interesting thing about this concept that I'm trying to get to here is that you can, while on the benefit, while on disability retirement, you can work in the private sector and earn up to 80% of your old position's current annual salary on top of the disability retirement payments. Many of our clients actually take advantage of this, and they go on to pursue another type of employment. We have got some interesting stories of different clients and what they've gone on to do in their lives. Some have gone on to teaching, or some have gone into real estate, all sorts of stuff. But the point is that you can pursue a different career path after you've been separated from service on a disability retirement, and you can earn an income on top of the disability retirement payments. So here's a visual of what that looks like in a general sense. You've got your high 3 average over here, and then you notice that year one is 60% of the disability retirement, and then every other year that you're on the benefit to age 62, it's 40% for your disability retirement. But the thing to note here is the additional 80% on top of the benefit that you could earn in the private sector. And that creates a significant difference in regards to your income possibilities while on this benefit, which is worth noting that a lot of other benefits don't allow for a situation like this where somebody can still draw a benefit and work at the same time. So let's look back at the federal employee example, Beth, and this is what it would look like if Beth did pursue some private sector employment, and what that would add to her total benefits. Okay, so let's take a look at what Beth's retirement now looks like if she was able to pursue some additional private sector earnings. So remember, it's an 80% earnings cap on what your previous job's current salary is, and I believe that we're just basing this off of her $72,000 high 3 average. So she has the approximate allowable earnings cap of around $57,600. So on a yearly basis, on top of her disability retirement payments, Beth could go out and earn up to $57,600 in private sector employment. That breaks down to around $4,800 per month. So now that we know what Beth's total earning possibilities could be in the private sector, let's add that to her disability retirement, and you can see here that makes a significant impact. Now she has the total potential gross for the first year on disability retirement of around $100,800, which breaks down to around $8,400 on a monthly basis, and that's for year one. And jumping down to year two, and for all the other years until 62, she now has a total potential gross on an annual basis of $86,400, which is $7,200 per month. This is a significant impact because obviously she's got that disability retirement locked in, the annuity is locked in, and then you add the earnings possibility on top of that. So now Beth's total potential gross for the benefit plus the additional earnings while on the benefit from ages of 51 through 62 is now worth $964,800. And obviously there you can see the significant difference because of the possibility for her to work in the private sector. So let's talk about what is earned income and what is subject to the 80% cap regarding the money that you can earn in the private sector on top of the disability retirement benefits. Earned income is technically money that you receive in exchange for work or services that you provide, such as wages and salaries, tips, and other taxable employee pay. That is traditionally what earned income is, and that is what would be subject to the 80% cap. Now, other types of earnings, such as net earnings from self-employment, are not. So also net earnings from self-employment would also be subject to the 80% cap. So if you own or operate a business, such as you're a realtor or a bookkeeper, consultant, or something like that, and you earn income from self-employment, that also too would be subject to the 80% cap. What is not subject to the 80% cap is passive income. So passive income is money that you receive without laboring for it. For example, if you receive dividends or interest earnings or capital gain earnings, those are the types of income which we would consider to be passive and not necessarily subject to the 80% earnings cap on top of the disability retirement benefits. Other unearned income sources might include things like income from retirement account distributions, Social Security benefits, VA disability benefits. Those types of distributions or benefits would not be considered to be earned income. They would be passive income and therefore not subject to that 80% cap. It's also worth noting that if you receive income from an estate or a trust, partnership, or S corporation without being an active part of the management, that also might be considered to be unearned income. Okay, so moving on to another part of the benefit and something that is extremely important and critical for people to understand because it's so valuable to your overall picture long-term to what that retirement will look like when you're on disability retirement. And that has to do with credible years of service. When people are considering disability retirement, another question that comes up, probably the third, most often would be, what happens to my pension? I've been a federal employee for X number of years, and I've worked, and I've saved, and I've earned towards my pension, but now what happens if I pursue the disability retirement benefits, and therefore I'm going to be separated from service? What does that do to my existing credible years, and how does that look when I get to the age of 62 when things recalculate to a regular retirement? So every year that you're on disability retirement, that will actually count as another earned credible year of federal service. These years will accumulate and they will be added to any pre-existing credible years that you had already earned previous to getting on the disability retirement benefit. So that is extremely valuable when you consider what is the total number of credible years of service that will be calculated when you reach the age of 62, and the actual percentage of your pension will be given to you. This is very, very, very important when you're considering what that whole picture might look like. So going back to Beth's specific situation here, this is a good illustration showing that Beth, she actually had 15 years of service prior to her going on a disability retirement benefit. Remember, she was 51 years old when she got on that benefit, and so there was an 11-year gap between 51 and 62. So when you're on disability retirement, these years, those 11 years that you're on the benefit, will actually be counted and attributed towards a credible year service total. So when she gets to age 62 and the benefit is recalculated into a regular retirement, she's going to retire not with 15 years of credible service like she had before the disability retirement. She's actually going to retire with 26 years of earned credible years of service. So looking at what these additional years of service actually do for Beth's retirement when she reaches the age of 62, well, let's look at her annual value back when she was 51 years old before the disability retirement. At that point in time, she had 15 years of credible service. Back then, the annual value of her earned annuity was $10,800. So fast forward 11 years with her being on the benefit of disability retirement and adding those 11 years to the existing 15 years that she had. Well, now she has a total of 26 years. So her annual value of earned annuity at that age, at 62, is now $20,592. That's a 90% increase due to the additional years of credible service earned while on federal disability retirement. So that's a major impact for Beth's overall retirement picture, and I hope that you can see the value in that. Moving on, there are other benefits that come along with a disability retirement. And what I mean is there are options to keep certain types of insurances that you already have in place. There's also options for survivor benefit elections, and all of those are very detailed, but they are available to federal employees that are considering this option. Sometimes they make sense and sometimes they don't. It's all specific to your situation. But for an example, you can keep your health insurance, your federal employee health benefits. You can continue those into disability retirement. You can also continue your federal employee group life insurance, your FEGLI. That's a group benefit, like a group life insurance benefit that's available to all federal employees, and you are able to keep that into your disability retirement as well. There are options for survivor benefits, and what I mean by that is there are available options to reduce the amount of your annuity in exchange for having a survivor benefit. Now, before you make those decisions, it's important to talk to a professional about that, because really it's essential to have proper planning in place here. There's a very limited time frame that a federal employee will have to change these elections once the disability retirement claim has been approved, once it goes to the Office of Personnel Management, once they actually make their favorable decision. There's going to be a limited amount of time that you have to change these elections. But these are elections that will need to be in place during the actual application process for your disability retirement claim. One other thing I want to talk about too is cost of living adjustments, COLAs. For non-disabled, regular FERS retirees, right? So people who just retire regularly that are non-disabled, they actually do not begin to receive COLAs till the age of 62. So somebody that might retire, take retirement at age 55, regular retirement, they will not actually be able to receive any COLA adjustments until the age of 62, while if in comparison, a federal disability retirement annuitant, so somebody who goes on this benefit that I'm talking about, they actually will start receiving COLAs only 1 year after they start receiving their annuity. So that lets them fast forward the ability to start adding COLAs to their actual annuity a lot faster than it would be if it was a non-disabled regular retiree situation. So that wraps up my presentation for today's webinar. Really do appreciate you all being here. I hope that you can see the value of this benefit and the power that it has, and how it can complete kind of the whole picture of what your retirement might look like now that you have this unforeseen circumstance in your life now. So I'm going to hand this back over to Nick Child now with our office, and he's going to have some closing remarks for you all. Again, thank you for being here.
All right. Thank you, Bo, for explaining this topic to us, teaching us a little bit more about disability retirement and what a valuable benefit that is to people. Hopefully you can see that this can really help you find security long-term in your retirement, and what a unique opportunity this is if you are eligible for it. So I encourage you to reach out to our team and talk to us a little bit more. We do free consultations, so feel free to call us or message us, and we can set one of those up. We're going to leave the webinar open for about 15 more minutes to answer any questions you might have. The chat will still be going on. If for some reason we can't get to your question in that amount of time, we encourage you to just call our office or shoot us a message, and we will be happy to answer as many questions as you have, talk to you about your specific situation a little bit more. Our consultations here, absolutely free, but are very educating and enlightening to each person's specific situation. So I'd highly encourage you to do that just to see what your situation looks like and where you are. We will have more of these webinars coming up in the near future. You can find our full schedule under the resources tab on our website at federaldisability.com. And with that, we thank you for being here and look forward to being with you next time. Thank you.